Homelessness is on the rise in our region. California was the leading state for homeless, admitting to nearly 135,000 homeless folks in 2017. What do you believe is the cause of this increase, and what can or should the city do to address this growing issue?
I think the city right now is doing everything they can do. We were at the League of Cities meeting, and I was quite surprised to have someone in that room stand up, because if you were in that room, you were an elected official or a city employee. And she stood up and she said, you know, I've been homeless I was homeless at one time for 5 years. 5 years I was homeless. And she said, if you think those homeless people are not armed, they are. Every one of them are armed one way or another. Not all of them want to be there. You can help some of them, but you can't help them all. We have a fantastic group here called SWAG, and the city has just recently agreed to pay them. They were working under a grant. They worked for the county. They got a paycheck to help the homeless. But they felt that that wasn't enough. They weren't doing enough, so they've gone out on their own. They have a fundraiser on October 13th. Ask Bridget. But I think that the city of Wildomar right now is doing everything they can to either get them into a home. There are beds. There are beds available for these people. There are programs available for these people, but not everyone wants help, and you can't force it on them.
I see the homeless situation is not going to get any better. It's actually getting worse. One of the problems that we have in our area with the homeless is a lot of them are coming from out of town. A lot of them are coming from Colorado. They've moved back. Since we passed the marijuana deal in California, a lot of people came from Colorado back to this wonderful area because, number one, they got out of the snow, and they can come down here where it's all nice and warm, and they can live here on the streets and pretty much function. And that's across the state of California. That's who I was talking. I was talking to a lot of different guys from different cities, mayors and everybody from the League of Cities, and they were all saying the same thing. They saw the influx. There's a big influx here. The weather's amazing, and people are very generous here. People feel bad for the guy that's standing out there. I don't feel bad for the guy that's standing out there because we have a lot of services that they can get. We are supporting the SWAG group, and they're doing an awesome job. But a lot of people just don't care. They don't want to get off the street. But then you have the mentally ill, and that's not going to be an easy solve. That's something that's going to be federally solved. That's the only way we're going to change that type of a thing. The homeless, we do what we can. We put up the ordinance. We voted things through to try to get them to stop what they're doing, and I keep begging people, stop giving them money. If you want to give them something to eat. Stop giving them cash, because you're just feeding their habit.
Or give money to the organizations that take care of them.
Right. Now the cause of homelessness, all right, that's a huge issue. That's it's way outside of the area of Wildomar. It's a state issue between AB 109, Props 4757. We've heard those a lot of times. Those have contributed. Also, the cost of living in California is crazy. So even for people, the classic one paycheck away from being without a home, it's more real than it would have been 10 years ago. The costs, I can't imagine how young people today are supposed to afford their first apartment. On a local level, what can the city do? The city's basically doing what it can do. I'm glad that they started stepping up. It really wasn't a problem before this year, and we started hearing about it in the springtime. And city government seems, have a slower pace than regular day-to-day life, but they got into gear and started addressing the issue. I would like to see these, I know they're private land, but these areas where that they live, where the encampments are, because that's the real issues, the encampments and then the aggressive panhandling. And so I'd really like to see us with concerted effort with our police to crack down on that.